This is Monsters on the Mic on the Fan 106.5, giving you exclusive insider access to coaches and players for Duluth's Minnesota Monsters football team. Recorded weekly at Lyric Kitchen Bar in downtown Duluth. Now here's your hosts, Brian Prudhomme and Dave Cook.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Monsters on the Mic. We are here at Lyric Kitchen Bar. Second show in show history. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. Again, how this works. We're at Lyric Kitchen Bar on a Wednesday. You will hear this twice after that. You will hear it on a Thursday evening, and you'll hear it leading up to the game on Saturday. But we always, Dave, encourage people to come down and join us for this Wednesday fun.
Absolutely. You know, Brian, you get here, you get to have the pizza, which looks fantastic. You get the opportunity to have, a drink and hang out with some friends and listen to folks like our next guest, Shannon Brooks. You can get a chance to come on down and say hey. But as the season goes on, we're going to be talking to everybody. And so come on, get to know your monsters, right?
Absolutely. I like that. That sounds like a good t-shirt. Get to know your monsters. But I'll tell you this. We will always be fans of the Monsters. Dave, I have a personal question for you.
Now?
Because our guest coming up, Shannon Brooks, that you alluded to.
Yeah.
You've been a fan of, and I have too, but we both know when it comes to the two of us, there's one mammoth Gopher fan and there's one above-average Gopher fan, and you have the bigger of the two monikers, if you will. Are you fanboying a little bit? I'm glad I'm sitting between you.
A little. It's one of those things like, what's the rule of wearing jerseys? You can't wear jerseys for players that are younger than you. I'd have a Shannon Brooks jersey on the wall, but I certainly couldn't fanboy too much.
Now, I'm going to go to Shannon right with that because I don't know how much sales you're used to. I know Tammy, our fearless leader of the sales department, is on hand, but that sounded like a sales pitch to get him a Shannon Brooks jersey. Welcome, and what do you think?
Man, sound like a good idea to me, man.
That is very fair. So, Shannon Brooks, welcome to Duluth. I want to start there because you have the Minnesota lineage, if you will, being a former Gopher. So I think a lot of people just anticipate that you're familiar with all of Minnesota. You hadn't been to Duluth until very recently.
Right, yeah. First time to Duluth. Played at the university down in the cities for 2015 through 2019. Lived there for about 6 years, so I'm familiar with the cities. But like I said, first time at Duluth. I love it up here, though. Different scenery, very beautiful scenery, too, at that. Don't really get to see stuff like this every day, especially where I come from. So it's been a great time at Duluth so far, and I look forward to, continuing to be out here, play out here, and support the Monsters any way I can.
It's really crazy because if you're in Duluth, you're about an hour away from any part of the world. Like, you got beaches, you got like the Atlantic Ocean with the rocks and the big lake. You got prairie just a little bit that way. You can see anything you want.
I wondered where you were going with that. I was like, is he a big fan of sandstone? What's an hour away from here that you're such a big fan of?
No, look at the prairies in Tamarack. If you wanted to do some movie about the Cowboys and Indians, you could do one out there.
Now, Shannon, you're getting a good lesson into what I deal with every week. Sometimes Dave's going to Dave, and you just let him until he doesn't. Would you like to talk a little football instead?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
All right. So before we talk about what brought you here, let's talk about what you've done here already as a Monster. Week 1, Albany, defending champs, big deal. Talk about game 1. We know the scoreboard didn't work out, but things you liked, things you didn't like.
Game 1 was definitely a learning curve, a learning experience for our team. Week 1, there's a lot of things that you got to figure out. You got to figure out them fast. And like I said, Albany was a great team. I give all, credit when credit is due. They just won a championship in the last league they were in, so we knew it was going to be a physical game. I feel like very confident in how we prepare. I believe in this team and this coaching staff. And this whole organization. And we got a lot of great things coming. Fell short in week 1, but like I said, it was a learning curve for us. And, we're already building that chemistry, that championship chemistry. So I'm excited to see, what the rest of the season holds for us.
Brian, having the chance to watch the game the other day, one of the plays that really struck me, and Shannon and I talked about it a little bit beforehand, was the touchdown that was then flipped to an interception after a receiver catches the ball and controls it in the touchdown or in the end zone. Shannon, when you guys were watching that play unfurl, what kind of stuff went through your mind? Was it like the football piece of it, the game piece of it?
Well, I was going to say, were you like me, that you've watched the video on repeat and you're still wondering how that was not a touchdown? But I digress.
Yeah, it was crazy. I typically stay out of the way of the refs.
But there are exceptions.
Right. That's a matchup 95% of the time you're going to lose that one as a player.
Yeah.
But it was a tough call. You know, I'm gonna say it's a touchdown. I started celebrating.
Yeah.
When he caught the ball and he hit the wall, I was already celebrating. And then the ref didn't blow the whistle, so I'm like, dang, okay. So I ran and made the tackle, but I was like, man, yeah, that was a touchdown in my book. But like I said before, man, the thing that we can work on to be better as a team and as players is don't even put it in the refs' hands. You know, don't make it close enough for where the refs can have that type of control. But you know, in my book, that was a touchdown.
Yeah, I had to ask that question because in my book, also touchdown.
Well, you took a question that had to be asked. I'm going to take one as well because Shannon Brooks, the running back, that's what everybody knows. 11 on 11, regular football, if that's what you want to call it, running backs have a pretty obvious role. Indoor arena football, the running back role is a little bit unclear. Talk to us about what you feel your job is at that position.
Man, a running back, you got to be very versatile. It's a very physical position. You're basically making contact on every play. You got to be able to, especially in this league, you got to be able to block. And most of the time, you're blocking a nose guard that's 300-plus pounds, or you're blocking a linebacker that's 230-plus pounds. So it's definitely a physical game, but I love it. You get to run the ball, you get to touch the ball, you get to catch the ball, you get to block and be very productive on the field. So I fell in love with playing running back. But in this league, it's definitely different. Super fun, though, but, you know, being a running back, I love it. You in the game, you get the ball, and you get to score touchdowns. So
sometimes it is that simple. I like that recipe.
Absolutely. But, Shannon, we were talking earlier before the show as well. What are some of the things as a running back you can see that you need to work on or that you can make better as the season goes along?
I would say the biggest thing as a running back that I got to work on would be, I would say, pass blocking. And that's one thing in college, though. Like, I never really been a great pass blocker. But as I went to the University of Minnesota and I got around them staffs and the coaches, like that was one thing that they harped on me about. And I love to find weakness in my game so I don't have a weakness when I'm out there playing.
Right.
But I would say that's the biggest thing for me would be just really pass protection.
So let's talk about the space with which you can operate offensively because that's the most obvious difference to everybody. 11 on 11, big field, wide field, very different world there. Is it harder to make a jump cut? Is it harder to block immediately? What are some of the challenges that come with that enclosed area?
I would say the most challenging part for a running back especially is just the holes, they close quicker.
Right.
You know, it's 50-yard field. I think it's, 25 yards, side to side or something like that. But everything is quicker in the indoor league. Like, I played in Canada in 23, and their field is like a soccer field.
Right.
So it's literally like double and some change more than the field we play on. But that's the biggest difference I've seen. Just everything is quicker. Everything is right now. So especially as a running back, you see a hole, you got to hit it full speed and go.
We'll get to the Gophers eventually because we've got 45 minutes of show, and Dave wants probably 40 of that for Gopher talk. But I want to talk about some of the other places you've played. Because I met you just before the show. I shook your hand just before the show. And I felt something. I said, wait a minute. You got a pretty giant rock on that finger. What are we wearing this time? You've got championship pedigree, too. Let's talk about that.
Yes, sir. So, I got a couple really big bowl games that I won at the University of Minnesota. So I got some rings from that. And then my first professional championship was with the Arizona Rattlers back in 2024. It was a crazy season. Had the opportunity to go out there and play in the championship game. We got the job done. It was a crazy game. Great feeling, but back on that championship mindset, you know, I believe we got the same thing here with this team this year. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I know what that feels like. I know what it looks like. I know what it is to be around championship guys that got the championship mindset, and we definitely have that here. Yeah.
It's one of the things we ask every player that we get a chance to talk to, Shannon. We talk about championship mindset. We talk about ways that a team can get together to that point, right? What's the magic sauce? What do you think? What do you think a team really? How does a team reach not just championship goals, but how do they get there?
My belief would be connection. I feel like it's hard to win a championship when you're playing with guys that maybe not know their purpose or maybe don't really know you as a person.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Outside of football. And the teams that I've been on that won championship, you know, we're doing team bonding. outside of the football field. We hanging out, we spending time together, and I think that honestly is the secret sauce.
You're seeing some of that now with this group.
Right.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like the X's and O's, all that. We put in work every day. So the football, the X's and O's, that's gonna be, we're gonna get that down. But when you have the dude next to you playing for you, and not just playing for just a random reason, that's when everything start clicking. Because when you playing for your brother, like it's harder to give up on him. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like having that connection with your brothers is the secret sauce.
So how do you teach that? Because we always hear, well, this guy knows how to win. He can teach somebody who hasn't been there how to win. That's, again, I said this on the previous show, but I think it's still true. That's cliches that people who talk sports love to use. Make it make sense. What does it mean to teach somebody how to win?
So, man, honestly, I don't even know if you can really teach somebody how to win. I feel like the more part to focus on would be, that's a tough question, man, because I feel like you got to have it. Like I feel like you got to have it in you, you know what I'm saying? I feel like if you got some quit in you, it's going to be tough to be successful in anything in life. But
how quick can you tell if somebody's got it or not?
That's a great question.
Man,
That's 2. I'm done.
I know.
After about 2 weeks of conditioning, man. But now, I feel like when you could tell with athletes, I feel like when that pressure really is on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Pressure's a
like
privilege,
when
right?
you're tired, and I get tired sometimes. I ain't gonna lie. Like I get tired, but what I realize when I get tired, my details start lacking. I'm not locked in how I should be. So I feel like, man, if you can control that, you'll be good.
Talk to me a little bit about, sorry I cut you off there, but talk to me a little bit about something you just said. You mentioned about the weeks of conditioning. Now, you've got a body that has been through a lot, but done very well also. What's the conditioning been like, and how different is it from Division I, University of Minnesota football, to the 50-yard indoor football?
It's definitely, I guess it is what you make it, you know what I'm saying? But at the University of Minnesota, them workouts was intense. It's super intense. Like, so, and you got coaches in there, pushing you, your teammates pushing you and stuff, but it's super intense. I feel like the biggest thing from being in college to jump into a pro, you're not gonna always have people around you pushing you to go do workouts. You're not gonna have people around you to pushing you to, to be great. So I feel like that's the biggest difference. But at the end of the day, we're professionals, we're grown men. So, if we want to get to where we want to get as an individual and as a team, you're gonna put in the work that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? So,
the one last question I have this segment, Shannon. We talked about, again, we've mentioned champions, we've mentioned adults, right? So when you're playing with new guys coming right out of college, maybe people that had it good in college and are about to see what a professional looks like, when we're talking veterans, people that have played at different levels, guys who've succeeded at different levels. How do you get the newbies on board?
That would be, pretty much pushing the culture that's been established. And I done played for multiple teams. Different coaches gonna have different cultures that they established and they set in stone. And then you got the leaders on the team. And in my opinion, everybody a leader. I don't think there's really one player on the team that is bigger than somebody else.
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it's it's a political thing where we put a C on this guy, a C on this. I don't really care about all the C's on the jersey, you know what I'm saying? I feel like everybody's a captain because at the end of the day, we all in it together. So, but I forgot the other part of the question.
No, I think you answered it. That's good.
I think you did rather well. I think we threw some tough ones at you for segment 1, but the good news is we're just getting started. Round of applause for former Gopher, current Monster, Shannon Brooks. Segment 1 is down. We got 2 more left. Don't go anywhere. We're back. Monsters on a Mic. Back right after this. And welcome back to Monsters on the Mic. We're here at Lyric Kitchen Bar. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. and Shannon Brooks, former Minnesota Golden Gopher turned Minnesota Monster. And Shannon, there's a lot of things we want to talk to you about. We had a lot of fun off the air talking about the number of topics we will still tackle. And right at the end, before we came back, we said, wait a minute. We didn't really track your journey to the Minnesota Monsters. How did you get here? Because obviously Gopher fans and Monsters fans, thrilled to have you.
Man, so it's been a crazy journey, but pretty much my coach, Coach Clark, reached out to me through Facebook. And at the time, I was planning on, to be honest, moving on to the next chapter of my life. I plan on doing some personal training stuff, getting certified. Hopefully one day open up my own training facility for people. But so I was done with football, and Coach Clark reached out to me. Then I got a chance to, get on the phone with our owner, Jake. And, pretty much the rest has been history. And then being able to come back to Minnesota where I played college ball at is like my second home. So, yeah.
All right, so let me ask you this question, because you said you talked to Jake Lambert, and anybody who does that for more than 5 minutes knows what a big Gopher fan he is. Now, I tease the guy to my right about being a big Gopher fan.
He's an amateur.
And Jake Lambert, to be honest, puts Dave to shame. Was that part of the sell job, or did you know that already, that your owner is as big of a college football fan for your alma mater as anybody will be?
So I heard he was a fan, but I didn't realize.
No. There's got to be another word for him. Fan doesn't do it justice.
Fan. We got to find a different word.
Yeah.
But I know he was definitely, super involved with the Gophers and definitely, supported them for a long time. So, but I didn't know how big of a fan he was. Well, not fan, but we'll find a word. But you know what I'm saying?
I was going to say that's our mission now. Our mission this week is obviously to take down Michigan, the Arsenal, but to find a different word for Jake Lambert with the Gophers is going to be another mission as well. Let's talk about that upcoming opponent. Michigan is new to the league, not unlike Minnesota. They've got a couple games under their belt. You've got one. What are you expecting with the road trip this week?
Business trip as usual. Our mission, we work to go 1-0 each week, no matter really who we playing. And pretty much for the whole season, it's really the Monsters versus the Monsters, because when we play our football and we execute, man, it's going to be hard to stop us on both sides of the football. So, great team, though, you know what I'm saying? They get paid to play football just like we do. They put pads on just how we do. So, you got to respect everybody that you're going against, because if you show up and it don't matter who you playing, you show up and you're not on your A game, you liable to get beat. So.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. Dave, I want to go to you because I was entertained by the conversation you guys were having during the break, because you were talking about some of the idiosyncrasies, I guess, of the league and some of the quirks that take some getting used to and some of the awkwardness that we're all going to adjust to as Monsters fans.
Well, I'll tell you the one that struck me, no pun intended there, was on the nets are live. And one of our players grabbed the ball rebounding off the net, and he got a hospital ball. He caught the ball facing the wrong way and got timed out perfectly. And Shannon, those nets make the sport, again, it's football in a way, but those nets make it a different game too.
Most definitely. Like I said, it's my first time really playing in a professional league where the kickoff is like that. It's live off the net, because I came from the IFL, and we don't got nets up like that. So when the ball is kicked too far, it's just out of bounds.
Yeah.
But in this league, it's like everything's live, so it definitely puts a different aspect on the game.
It's almost like pinball, Brian.
Yeah.
Human pinball, absolutely. So take me into that mindset, because there has to be some of you that says, hey, this is fun, this is ragtag, this is razzle-dazzle back when we were kids. And then there has to be part of you that says, wait a minute, this is different than anything I've ever been used to. Are there pros and cons to this? Is it more pro than con, or what are we looking at?
I think it's really all pros, to be honest. I think it's all pro, just because I love the game, and I know all the guys I play with, they love the game of football.
Yeah.
And, we signed up for it. We like modern-day gladiators, for real.
You really are.
It really is.
That's a good one.
We understand, you know what I'm saying? We understand it's a physical game, and, things can happen. For me, I done had probably like 9 or 10 surgeries playing throughout the years of just playing football alone. So it's definitely a physical sport, but, we love to do it. So I feel like that love I believe that love, overtakes the nerves about getting hurt and things like that. And injuries do suck. You know what I'm saying? Injuries do suck.
That sounds like another T-shirt. I like that.
Bravo.
Yeah.
But it's part of the game.
So, Shannon, running back in this league, because it's fast and because the field is compressed, What are you looking for when you're in the backfield? What are the clues, the cues that are going on with the defense that, as a running back, you're kind of trying to pick up on? Like like a mic in in regular ball when you're trying to figure out what they're playing, what defense they're at. What are you doing?
So when I'm back there, well, first it start really in the film. When I watch film on the opponent we're about to play, I like to see. I basically watch film to see how hard people play, because for me, I know how hard I play. So it's like, if you out there lollygagging and you playing half butt, and I can't cuss. If you playing half butt football out there,
see, we said no cussing. He's
I was
good
gonna
at
say
this.
the FCC loves that phrase. Half butt is gonna catch on. I like it.
yeah. But if you out there, you're not flying around, then it's not gonna be good.
Yeah, you can take advantage.
Exactly. You got to play this game fast, and I feel like if you play fast, you'll be all right.
All right, Shannon, let's go off the field for just a moment, because you said something a minute ago, and every football player that's here with us nodded in agreement instantly, that everybody who plays it loves the game. Where did the love of the game come from for you? Who was the influence? When did it come?
So when I was 6 years old, my mom and my step pops and my uncle, they took me and my brother to the park, signed us up for football. We didn't really know what was going on. It was our first time playing, and then we were pretty good at it. So we really just stuck with it. And, it kept us out of trouble, kept us focused, and things like that. And going into 7th grade, I moved away from Atlanta and moved like an hour and some change north of Georgia. That's when we moved. Me and my brother, we moved in with our teacher. My mom, she went to prison for 2 years. And at the time, we was away from our family, so we didn't really know anybody like that. But we ended up moving in with one of our school friends and his people. And then our teacher, her name's Melissa. But she used to come over after school, help us with our homework.
Wow.
Kind of seemed like the environment we was living in. And then one day, we got our mom on the phone from prison, and she wanted to take me and my brother in. So my mom got on the phone with her, talked to her, and we moved in with her, and she helped us out all the way from 7th grade up. So
That's a pretty amazing
Yeah.
story. Can I venture to guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, is this somebody you keep in touch with
Oh,
almost
yeah.
on the daily now?
Most definitely,
Yeah.
yeah. I just talked to her the other day. Most definitely, yeah.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your time with the Gophers, because I don't want Dave to drool on me.
Why
here.
not?
But obviously you had a tremendous career with the Gophers. The Gophers have had ups and downs, more ups than downs recently. Tell us what it's like playing in front of the Gopher faithful first.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. I remember my first game. I didn't even know if I was going to play or not. I put like 5 or 6 bands on his arm. I put like 5 or 6 bands on his arm. I mean, I was ready to go, boy. Then I remember going out there. We played TCU in a stadium. It might have been a sold-out game, 2015. We played them at home, TCU. They had Boykins at quarterback, I think. They had Docs in that receiver. They had some guys out there. But that energy running out that tunnel, I was like, man. But it ain't nothing like playing, against an Iowa, Wisconsin, that Penn State game.
Right.
I was going to say, I brought that up right away before we got on the air today.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Wisconsin a little bit. Is that the most hated for you? Because anybody who's heard me for more than 30 seconds on a radio knows that it's the most hated for me. But I was at Minnesota, Iowa this year. We won't talk about how that went because it was ugly. But there are a lot of Gopher faithful that thinks an Iowa win's more important. Where does it rank for you?
Man, like I said, I know we can't cuss on this, so I'm keep PG-13. But yeah, we don't like the Badgers, man. We don't like the Badgers. We don't like Iowa. We don't like Michigan. Penn State, they all right. But the rivalry's big, though. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, at the end of the day, it's all love. It's the game of football. You know what I'm saying? But for some of us, boy, that rivalry.
I think I could sit with this guy for a while.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
agree.
smirking, having a good
That
time.
rivalry, boy, is something else.
I got to ask you about the Big Ten now, because the name itself is very, very incorrect, because the Big Ten is basically the Big 20. When you've got UCLA and Oregon and teams like that in it, has that taken away from it for you, or do you think the expansion of the Big Ten has been good for the game?
I think it's been good for the game. And, all it is more competition at the end of the day. And at first, even coming out of high school, I didn't even know. I'm not good with my geographics, so I didn't even know Minnesota was a state. I just was so sheltered in Georgia.
Right.
I ain't know Minnesota was a state. But when they came and recruited me in the high school, I sat down and, my head coach was like, Coach Parker was like, yeah, man, Big Ten's a good conference. And he started listing some of the teams. I'm like, okay, I know Michigan. Okay, I know Ohio State. Okay, I know Michigan State. And when I heard the competition in that league, I was like, this is where I want to go because I want to play against the best.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So.
All right, so we got to ask the question. Tell us what it's like playing for PJ.
Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. PJ going to get you right in every way. The biggest thing with Coach Fleck that I respect is the change that the impact that he wants to have in your life personally outside of football. He's going to be very involved in your life and help you set you up to be successful in every way that he possibly can. It was a lot of energy. You want to play for him, and that energy that people see on TV with him, running around doing, he do that every single day. Like,
that was going to be my question.
Yeah,
is this guy the real deal? Because,
Yeah.
I don't know
You can put it
anybody
on
else
for an hour.
that
Yeah.
you say, how you doing? And he'll say elite.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it because I want to be PJ shtick once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's not shtick. It's really who he is.
Yeah, that's who he is. And
Wow.
his coach is real, though. I ain't gonna lie, his coach is real. For a lot of people, though, a lot of people might think it's corny, which I kind of get it. You know what I'm saying?
So
If
when
you
you
didn't
first,
live it.
so when you first got introduced to it, were you, what in the world is this guy? Or was the energy so infectious you just kind of bought in?
I was bought in because, personally, I'm the type of player, like, I respect my coaches, you know what I'm saying? And whatever mission that they have, whatever vision that they have, I'm automatically bought in. Unless it's something that, you know what I'm saying, something
Right,
different.
foolish,
That
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it's something different and it ain't legit, then, I probably bump heads with them. But it's official, you know what I'm saying? It's official. And the way he run things is different, but like I said, it's going to be everything to get you where you want to be. You want to go to the NFL, you want to be in the top shape, you want to get a good education, you want to do good outside of football, then that's the coach to go play for.
All right, so let me ask you this. College football when you played versus whatever college football is now. Is there any part of Shannon Brooks that says, Shannon Brooks would have done really well with NIL money possibilities and things like that?
Man, that NIL changed the game.
Right?
That NIL changed, yeah. If that was in college, when I was in college, yeah, we definitely would have did something with that.
All right, I can appreciate that. So tell me this. Let's go back to the task at hand because it is Monsters on the Mic. We should talk a little bit about Monsters football. Big game, obviously, at Michigan. Take on the Arsenal this week. But I want to talk about the impact that a running back can have. You've taken us through what is required of you. But I'm looking at some of the stats online, and I know it's early in the season, and I know some of them can be old or incorrect. But you look at Michigan, and as of Wednesday, they're averaging 1 yard per game on the ground. Pretty sure you can fall that far. What are we looking at in terms of your offensive capabilities and what a run game can do in this league?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I did a double take. I hope it's wrong for their sake, but go ahead.
That's an interesting stat. But like I said, can't underestimate them. You know what I'm saying? Can't underestimate nobody. So, we just got to come out, focus, and play. Like I said before, play monster football. And I think, the rest of the game, the scoreboard gonna take care of itself. We come out there and play monster football. But yeah, that's an interesting stat though. I ain't heard that one.
That it is kind of funny, Brian. You're right. I'm fairly sure Shannon could tip over and gain a yard.
I might be able to do that, but I digress. And odds are I will, so go ahead.
Shannon, in the offense that you guys are running, is it possible even to have an inside-out running game, or is it literally it's so quick and so small that you're just hitting whatever hole is open, or how are they calling running plays?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, certain plays and where I line up at, sometimes I'm right behind the line, sometimes I'm in like shotgun. But it really depends on the play, to be honest with you. Like, if I'm right behind the line, for example, it might hit a little quicker. I might need to just, get what I can.
Yep.
If I'm in the pistol or the gun, I might have like maybe a second, half a second
At
to
best.
be able to read something.
It's so crazy how fast and quick that game is.
It's so quick. It's so quick. And with my position, I think any running back, it's more of like a reaction position. But, we are trained to, press this gap. If you don't have nothing here, jump back to this gap. If you don't got nothing in this gap, then go this way.
Yep.
So usually a progression helps. But in this game, I feel like it's more reaction.
Right.
More reaction. Like, you get the ball, you see something, you just got to go with it.
All right, so last question of this segment, and it might be a little bit too easy or too difficult. As a running back, whether it's 11-on-11 football or this type of league, is there a play that gets called for you that you're drooling immediately going, this is my play, I'm taking this to the house?
Yeah. I like, for the run game,
See his eyes light up
Yeah,
on that one?
I did.
for the run game, I really like inside zone. I like running between the tackles, but in this game, I also like the pitch. The toss sweep to the outside, I like that play a lot.
Get you some space.
Oh, yeah, and then the pass game definitely got to be the running back screen. I love being able to like act like I'm finna block, boom, slip out, and then I turn around, I see all them big boys in front of me, it's time to eat.
I like that. I like anything that gets Shannon Brooks to the football. Round of applause again for the former Gopher turned Minnesota Monster. We got another segment ahead. More with Shannon Brooks. It's Monsters on the Mic from Lyric Kitchen Bar. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook. We'll be right back. Back at Monsters on the Mic here at Lyric Kitchen Bar on a Wednesday. Again, this show is recorded on a Wednesday, so it's a live recording. Contradiction in terms. Brian Prudhomme, Dave Cook will make it make sense.
Well, you know what's cool about the live recording is where we're doing it. You can come down to the Lyric on Wednesday nights when we're playing, and you're talking to the guy who can't eat anywhere, right? The celiac thing really limits the places. You can come down here and eat. You can have fries and everything, which you can't get very many places. So come on down, even if you've got a bit of a food issue, and grab some food from one of the best kitchens in town.
Absolutely. So what we do is we record this on a Wednesday, so come down and hear the recording, and then obviously tuning in on your radio Thursday night or Saturday leading up to the big game, of course.
Yeah, and that's how you should take in the show. If you don't catch it on Thursday, make sure you catch it because we're trying to lead right into this game against Michigan this week.
Yes, but plan your Wednesdays to come down and join us.
Yes, please do.
And again, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to Lyric for having us, but Sanju Two Harbors and Comfort Systems of Duluth as well.
Absolutely. You got two really great sponsors right there. Sanju, where the cars are up the highway, and, of course, Comfort Systems of Duluth. We get to talk about them every weekend. If you live in town and you're not Comfort Systems of Duluth,
then you don't live in town yet.
Yeah, right. You need to figure that out.
They will make you comfortable, much as Shannon Brooks has gotten comfortable with us here for almost a full hour. We're going to wrap it up with one more segment here. Shannon, we talked a lot as we were meeting earlier today about guys you played with, guys you played against. We really had fun with the Gopher tenure that you had. I want to go with, and this could be pro players that you watched as a kid, college players that you played with, players you've watched in other leagues.
Guys you see now.
We always talk about who do you emulate? Who do you try to shape your game after? Who is that for you, or who was that for you?
So growing up, to be honest, I played quarterback growing up, so I like Michael Vick.
Okay.
That's fair.
Well, a guy who played quarterback, but a guy who can really run, that makes a lot of sense.
But we speaking running backs, I'm gonna go in order. I got 3 running backs that I watch.
All right. Your bronze medalist. Who's third?
Third is gonna be LT, Daniel Thompson.
I like that. Who's got the silver? Who's number 2?
Number 2, I'm gonna go Marshawn Lynch.
Okay.
That's when I was like high school era, you know what I'm
Now,
saying?
wait a minute. I don't know about your games, but knowing you now, there couldn't be a much bigger difference between you and Marshawn Lynch because you've had a lot to say. We could go for hours, and Marshawn would be on the mic going, I'm just here so I don't get fired.
Yeah, Marshawn, man, he a character. I have to put him 2 and number 1. Got to go, my boy Barry Sanders.
I was hoping.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to go Barry
We're in full-fledged
Sanders,
agreement there.
Yeah, Barry would, man, I watch his highlights before every game. And just the stuff he could do, especially being that size, like, be elusive, run strong like that, man, it's different. Like, you don't see a lot of stuff like that.
Every so often you watch a player and you go, dang, see, I did that too. That was good. You know, how did he do that? And then you see it again, and you're like, wait, that's just part of his game? Mm-hmm. And Barry was like that for me. Whenever you'd see him do something, you'd be like, oh. And then he'd do it again, and you're like, no way. It's not just happenstance.
Yeah, that wasn't a one-off.
Right.
That wasn't a fluke moment. So Dave just said, you watch a player and you go, wow, he's got that to his game. You played with some excellent players. Who was a guy, college or beyond or before, that you played with that you got wide-eyed, maybe your own teammate?
Winfield.
Antoine?
Winfield.
The apple didn't fall far from the tree, did it?
Nope. Antoine Winfield. Hands down, like, I think the biggest thing that caught my eye with him was, like, how he prepared every day. Like, for practice, for the games, like, you could tell he was laser focused. And then,
You don't make big plays like he makes by accident, do you?
no, not at all.
Because he makes big plays all the time.
All the time. I remember that one year, 18, 17, might have been my last year, but we played Fresno State one time each year, and he picked them off for the game both times.
Yeah, you can't
like,
do that by
man.
accident. You have to be
Right.
prepped.
Yeah, Winfield was a beast, though. And then that boy Bateman was serious, too. Him and Tyler Johnson. But them are some of the, I ain't gonna lie, them three right there, some dog.
That's pretty good company to speak about. I want to go this direction with it. As a ball carrier, your eyes are always moving. Head on a swivel is the cliche. What about guys on the other side of the ball? Who's the defender that was the toughest for you to play against? Or who did you see in your tracks? I know nobody goes, I can't win this battle, but who's a defender that you looked at and went, oh boy, I'm in for a battle now?
On my team or anywhere?
Yes, could be the answer to that. You pick.
Oh, I'm going to have to go playing against J.J. Watt.
That'll do it.
No, not J.J. Watt. I'm tripping. What was the first Bosa brother? Joey?
Joey, I think, is the older
yeah.
one, yeah.
Playing against Joey, man, I tried to block that man one time.
I like that he changed his mind because early on he gave a Badger credit. Please continue.
Yeah. I'll say Joey Bosa, I ain't gonna lie. That Ohio State team my freshman year was crazy.
This Ohio State run they've had over the last 4 or 5 years has been crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Every year they got guys coming out of guys. But on top of the teams that you've played for in the past, talk to us a little bit about the defense that you face every day in practice. Tell us a little bit about your guys on the defensive side.
Man, that defense crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Especially how they was getting off the ball today. We got a lot of vets over there. A lot of guys with high motors too. That's what I love to see out of defense. Like,
No quit.
guys that play with that high motor and just got that energy to them. That's what our defense got. Like, they be getting after it, boy. So.
And as a running back, you see that and respect that. I mean, that's what you're going up against all the time.
Oh yeah, and that's why I love it, and that's why I respect them so much. Because, to be honest, I believe I'm running against the best defense in the league. And honestly, if you look, like, I know week one, the score don't really tell how the game really went. You know, our defense, I think we got 3 stops against a championship team. That's the first time them boys stepped on the field to play together. So it's like, my defense got something special. And, like, I see it every day in practice. Like I said, them boys be working, getting after it. So I love being able to get better and work on my game with that group of guys every day.
Well, I can tell you this. Your defense also respects you because 2 weeks ago, Dave, our first show, Claude Davis brought up Shannon Brooks right away.
He did.
Because I said, what's a bigger deal, sacking a quarterback or dropping a running back TFL? And I thought, this is a defensive lineman. He's going to say sack far and away. He said, no, they're dead even. I said, really? What brought that about? And he said, trying to stop Shannon Brooks brought that about. Is there a little bit of a personal rivalry that's fun during practice?
Oh yeah. Me and I call him OG. Me and Clyde, we go back. I ain't known him too long. Like, we played Vegas in 24. We ended up knocking them out in the playoff. But I remember it was one play. Boom, I had broke a tackle. Boom, cut inside, and Clyde running from behind me. And I broke a tackle and boom, I felt a hit and I flew like 5 yards ahead. So I got the first down. So
Do you
I
still
really
feel that hit today?
yeah. I mean, heck yeah. But he hit me, bro. I flew like 5 yards. So I was like, I got the first down. So I got up. I'm talking my mess, you know what I'm saying? And he just looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, man, what? Like, I just hit you, feel me? So I was like, yeah. But after the game, I walked up to him, man. I was like, how old you is, man? Because I could tell he a little older. So I was like, how old you is? He was like, I'm 30-something. I was like, man, hey, respect. I said, all respect, bro. Like, you out here balling right now. So, but yeah, that's my dog. I be with him every day, man. And yeah.
Yeah, he told us a couple weeks ago he's 36 years old, and I said, what?
Yeah, we both stopped.
I said, thank you for telling me how badly I've aged. If that's what 36 is supposed to look like. And I'm meandering over here at 47. But I want to ask you to assess your own game. What's the best part of your game? Is it the wiggle? Is it the speed? Is it a combo? What's the part of your game that you want people to be raving about?
I would say running physical. It's probably been the thing that stood out, you know, really to other people and for me as myself is just how physical I run. Never really been the strongest, never been the fastest, never been the biggest, but I feel like my heart, how I play the game, I feel like separates me from a lot of other players. I love the game, you know what I'm saying, and shoot, I just play it with a passion, and I love to fly around and make plays. So I feel like that's the biggest thing is really not anything else, but really just how hard I play the game. But if I had to break it down, I'd probably say my acceleration, my burst, and then my vision. I'll say those are like two other things that
I will tell you this. Radio's not a visual medium. That's my favorite phrase. For the last 5 minutes, I wish it was.
Yep.
Because watching Shannon Brooks, and I mean watching, not just listening, watching Shannon Brooks recap that play against Claude,
Yeah,
he was still making
was
the
there.
juke. He was still making the cut. This is the fun stuff that people miss on radio, so to speak.
I remember when we were playing back in the day, I had a tight end who played some college ball, and he was physical, and he always said, Dave, the trick here is be the hammer. Always be the hammer, never be the nail. Sounds like Claude tried to make you the nail.
Yeah, he did. He did.
So let's talk a little bit about PJ again, because there are the catchphrases. There is the shtick that isn't the shtick. But we talked about teachable moments, and obviously you had a teacher that had a tremendous impact on your life. What are some of the teachable things from PJ that carries over
Life, yeah.
whether it's life or football, but things that just you can attach to anything that you do?
The biggest thing I say with Coach Fleck, the biggest thing that stuck with me from playing with him and being in that culture is really how you do things. Like, and I remember him saying, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And then another thing that stood out to me is, even growing up, my mom used to always tell me this, though, but she was like, son, like, you know what I'm saying, God gave you ability to, play the game on the field, but she said it really matters what you do off the field. She never really was specific about what that was, but just hearing that from coaches and my mom growing up and just different people in my life, that goes to show how important it is on how you carry yourself off the field. And that's just what habit, that's what everything, I ain't perfect, you know what I'm saying? Nobody's perfect. But those two things, I feel like if you work at that every day, and never give up and keep that faith, you'll be fine. But that's the one thing about PJ is how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when you do something, be the best at whatever that is. You could be a janitor. You could be making tacos. Be the best taco janitor that you can possibly be. Whatever your role is, be the best you can be at it. So that's one of the biggest things that, that I got from that coach.
One of the things I try to ask every guest that we have is sooner or later there's going to be a kid whose goal is to play back, wants to play in college, could be D3, D2, D1, but he has that goal. What kind of things would you talk to a high school junior who is just starting to think he's got a shot at playing a little bit higher? How would you guide him?
I would guide him by telling him, obviously, keep working, perfect your craft, put in the extra time outside of, the practices in the weight room, put in your own time, perfect your craft. 2, well, I ain't gonna put it in order, but you gotta be humble. You gotta be humble. You gotta be humble. Like, I was a great high school player. I think in the last 10 years in North Georgia football, I'm right behind Jahmyr Gibbs in most yards in the season.
Wow.
But the thing with me is, like, I had people in high school like, oh, Shannon, like, why aren't you cocky? You should be acting like, I'm like, no. Like, but I had coaches in my corner that taught me how to be humble. And what I mean by being humble, that's coming to work every day.
Yeah.
Don't pay attention to all the results all the time. You got to show up and show out every day. So I would give that advice to him and be humble, put in that work, and then, be coachable. You know what I'm saying? Listen to your coaches and, it's not going to be fun all the time. It's not going to be fun. Practice is going to be hard, but as long as you do those 3 things, stay humble, be coachable, and put that work in,
That'll get you places.
Yeah.
Solid advice.
Yeah,
I think he was built for Minnesota. He's humble. He's got that Minnesota nice built in already.
Well, and think about the players that you've known through life who don't fit that, right? No matter how good they were.
I could name them, but I won't.
Yeah, no, me too. No matter how good they were, they knew they were good more than anybody else did, and they'd tell you about it.
They love them some them is how I used to say that.
Whenever they'd fail, then you'd be like,
So every running back builds or has or both a relationship with their quarterback. Now, before we got on the air, we were going through kind of a Rolodex of Gopher quarterbacks, but I want to talk about your quarterback. He joined us 2 weeks ago on this show. Javante Johnson already has pretty much a legacy in Duluth.
yeah.
What's your take on him, his talents, his leadership, etc.?
He's a great leader, man. He's a great leader, and I think what stands out about J5 is his communication with the offense too. Like, it could be, for example, like I might be going out at receiver, which I'm learning a new spot, and then, you know what I'm saying, he'll make sure that I know what I'm doing for most of the time, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's a great leader, and he communicates very well. Obviously, he's a baller, too. He won championships, so he's a vet. He's been in this game for a while.
I owe him the one ring that I've got and the other one on the way. I owe it to Javante pretty much. I don't want this conversation to end. It has to eventually. One more question. Dave, I'll give it to you.
Well, I was going to ask again about the quarterback and the leadership that you bring up. And we know Javante pretty well. We're lucky that way. But when you say he's got those leadership skills, Shannon, what are you talking about? When you see it, what does that say leader to you?
I would say the way he come to work every day. To be honest, the way he prepares for the week, the way he prepares for the game, the way he carries himself, the way he communicates, the way he executes. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, to me, if you're a leader, you influence the guys around you.
Right.
And those are the best leaders, like, on any team. Like, if you can influence the next guy beside you and then multiple people, like, man, that's a leader. And I learned that from Ray Lewis and from Coach Flick.
Two guys I don't put in the same sentence super often.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you what, they both can dance on the field a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely learned that, though. Like, those be the best leaders.
That goes back to not needing a C. When
Yeah.
you said, I don't always pay attention to the captain because everybody needs to do
No
that.
doubt. Well, I'll tell you this. We got a new clubhouse leader and time spent on Monsters on the Mic. Round of applause for Shannon Brooks. That's our show for this week. Monsters and Arsenal in Michigan. They do battle. Don't miss it. Shannon Brooks is a lot of fun. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it,
On
Shannon.
behalf of my co-host Dave Cook, Brian Prudhomme saying, go Monsters. We'll see you in a week.